Many psychological studies are performed on weird samples. WEIRD is an acronym that stands for Western, Educated, Industrialized, Rich, and Democratic, characterizing the culture in which the study is conducted. In this cross-cultural examination, data is collected in Italy, which is classified as a weird sample, and Singapore, which is not weird due to it not being a Western nation.
The study focuses on the bystander effect in primary and middle school-aged children in both Italy and Singapore. The bystander effect is a social psychological phenomenon characterized by the diffusion of responsibility. People are less likely to offer assistance when others are around because the responsibility is spread among everybody present, causing individuals to believe that somebody else will take action. In this particular study, the bystander effect is measured in response to bullying and is based on the following factors: passive bystanding behavior, characterized by standing idle as bullying occurs; defending behavior, characterized by taking action to stop the bullying; attitudes towards bullying; and perceived peer pressure for intervention.
Italy and Singapore have cultural differences that play a role in the effectiveness of the bystander effect. Italy is more of an individualist society. Individualist societies have looser bonds between individuals, and everyone is expected to look out for themselves. Singapore, however, has more of a collectivist society with greater emphasis focused on people forming cohesive groups rather than rewarding individualism. People's behavior in a collectivist society is maintained by the desire to conform to group norms rather than to individual preferences and personal beliefs. It was hypothesized that there would be a stronger effect of attitudes among Italian children compared to the Singaporean children regarding bystander intervention.
The study involved 1,031 primary and middle school students, 4th through 8th grade, located in mid-sized cities in Italy and Singapore. Italy had 601 participants, 90% of which were Italian, 7.8% Eastern European, 1.2% African, and 1% South American. Singapore had 430 participants, 77.6% of which were Chinese, 15.3% Malay, 2.7% Indian, and 4.6% came from other countries. Both groups, however, came from a wide variety of socioeconomic classes. Each factor that was used to test the bystander effect was formulated into different scenarios, such as what children might do in certain situations in which they are exposed to bullying and must choose whether to stand idle or step in. Children were then given questionnaires in class and were asked to rate the likelihood of each of these events occurring. These questionnaires were administered in a standard classroom setting.
In Italy, this study found that attitudes towards bullying and victims were considered an individual correlate to bystander behavior. The individuals with positive attitudes towards victims expressed an intention to intervene in bullying situations and reacted positively to defending behavior and negatively to passive bystanding. In Singapore, results showed that defending behavior was positively predicted by participants' perception of peer expectation rather than individual beliefs and characteristics. Similarly, perceived peer pressure for intervention was negatively associated with passive bystanding behavior, meaning students were more likely to intervene, not bystand, due to the pressure from their peers and expectation of their peers to intervene. This relation of peer pressure was found to be stronger in Singaporean students than Italian students, which is likely due to the cultural differences between the two countries.
It's always a good idea to mention possible influencing factors in a study of this nature. As mentioned earlier, this study was made up of children in grades 4 through 8 in both Italy and Singapore. In both countries, there was a trend in that younger students were much more likely to engage in defending behavior than older students. With regard to country, Italian students were more likely to demonstrate defending behavior than Singaporean students. However, this could be because bullying behavior is simply more common among Italian students, so Italian students naturally have stronger attitudes towards bullying. There were also noticeable differences in behavior between male and female students. Female students were more likely to intervene when stronger attitudes against bullying were present. Additionally, the results aren't completely conclusive due to only self-reporting measures being collected and the possible differences in interpretations and the questions being asked between the two countries.
Conclusion: by taking samples from more than just a weird sample, the researchers were able to determine that there were cultural differences that influenced why students chose to intervene in bullying scenarios. They found that Italy's individualistic society resulted in more students intervening because of their personal beliefs, whereas Singapore's collectivist society resulted in more students intervening because of expectations of their peers. Had a non-weird sample not been collected, this differentiation would not have been noticed and the results of the study would have been affected.